modified endowment contract. A modified endowment contract takes life insurance taxation and turns it into annuity taxation other than the death benefit. The death benefit on a MEC is still tax-free to the beneficiary. So whether you're life insurance, whether you're annuities, much of our industry revolves around these things here. 2015, which is almost 10 years ago, rates were really low. You know, you had caps on index annuity that are like 3 or 4%. So what did investment banks start doing? They started to fly into Des Moines, Iowa, right? You see more private jets today, and did in 2015, flying into the Des Moines airport than you ever did. Those private jets are not mine, not my neighbors. It's not because Des Moines is such a wealthy location. It's insurance companies. And it's investment bankers flying in here to say, hey, we created this new index, right? You see, the index that you have, insurance company, the S&P 500 that goes like this, it's extremely costly for you to buy call options on it. Why? Because the investment bank you're buying those call options from has a good chance of paying you a big amount of return from those call options because the market's volatile. Call option costs go up when the market is volatile. But these investment banks said, we put together this ShamWow index. The volatility is very low. It's very low. So here's what we'll do. We'll take this index. You can afford a beautiful call option, right? So you could buy two call options and have it be 200% participation, uncapped 200% participation. And it will sell like crazy because people look at it, say no cap versus a 4% cap, 200% participation. That's beautiful. Well, is 200% of this better than 50% of this? Many times no, right? Many times no. So that's the games. There are some good volatility. I like Athene's volatility control. I always like the BNP Paribas, the MAD index. I've always liked it. I like Athene's pricing. Oh, but Athene is owned by a private equity company. Can you guarantee me that no company on earth is eventually going to be owned by a private equity company? You can't say that Athene's GLWB is guaranteed. No, I will say that because I do believe that Athene and American Equity will be around. And if you want to play that game, then nothing on this planet that's offered by insurance companies is guaranteed. So watch your language there as well. I'm going back to a LinkedIn conversation here. But anyway, so here are the return numbers brought to you by NAFA, National Association of Fixed Annuities. This year with all these volatility control indexes, not the actual strategies, the indexes, right? So take BNP Paribas, right? The MAD 5, so Athene, for instance, this is up to October, 6% year to date to October. By the way, through October, the S&P 500 was up 22%. So one might look at this and say, it's an indexed annuity. That's not bad. But the market was up 22%. Well, remember the example that I just said, the BNP Paribas has a low volatility, right? 5 is a low volatility. And it's no secret, the higher the volatilities here, a 10, you're going to see higher return in this year. To my point, the upside is much better with a lot of volatility. So because the MAD Index 5 has such low volatility, let me ask you a question. Do you think that investment bank is able to offer Athene a really good deal, if you've been listening to what I'm talking about, a really good deal on the call options? Because of the low volatility, do you think Athene is able to get a really good deal on the call options for a low volatility index? Yes or no? Yes or no? Does Athene get screwed, or does Athene get a really good deal on that? They get a really good deal. So again, low volatility usually means, well, let's look at the product specs here, right? Athene, one of my favorite accumulation products, the Performance Elite 10, one of my favorite accumulation products. What is the participation rate, folks? Annual point to point. Yeah. So see, that actually has a charge. Let's go over here, 145%. So what did I just explain there? I just explained it's a mess. that the industry is, that it's a moving target, that participation rates don't mean crap, that this performance here doesn't mean crap, because technically, this 6%, that's what the index did, but plus another, 145% participation rate. So this year to date has done 9%, right? How does that compare to this? How does that compare to this? How does that compare to this? Because all of these products that have these indexes have their own participation rates. How does that compare to anything? It's rocket science. It's rocket science, right? Now, I've gone into the rocket science, and that's why I like certain indexes. But folks, let me ask you a question. Take a stab at, in today's day and age with where cap rates are today, what my favorite index is. What is my favorite index in today's day and age based off of the way products work and all of this stuff that I just explained? Is a 10% with a 50% participation rate as good as a 5% return with a 200%, so it's all that. Here is my favorite, the good old fashioned S&P 500. Why? Because you actually know what you're going to get. So for instance, there's a company out there that launched guaranteed caps for the duration of the entire product. Do you think that guaranteed cap product is based off of just the plain vanilla S&P 500? No, it is based off of an index that within that index has a excess performance thing, which basically says this index has to perform beyond this point in order for this annuity product, regardless of what the cap is, to get any growth whatsoever. But can this annuity company say everything is locked in? Everything is absolutely locked in, guaranteed caps, no risk. It's on this index over here. Can the company say that and be compliant? They can say that and be compliant, but what they're not telling you is within the index, there's an excess return component that can adjust what the investment bank gets and in return, what the insurance company pays on those call options. So it's a shell game. So here's what I like. From an accumulation standpoint,